Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Viking and David Ayer, a man who was hard done by Warner Brothers back in 2016, 2015, 2016 with his Suicide Squad film, just like Zack Snyder was with his Justice League film. But David Ayer stood by his film in the end. He marketed, he said it was his, and he kind of regrets that to this day. He was playing the game, he was playing the suits, he was being a businessman, being a yes man for Warner Brothers, but things have changed and circumstances have changed, especially in the world of DC, especially with Zack Snyder's Justice League finally coming out next year. David Ayer is a lot more vocal about his Suicide Squad film and what actually happened behind the scenes. But yesterday on Twitter was a very interesting day because his new movie, The Tax Collector, trailer dropped and also a poster. And man, watch that trailer, it's definitely cool and I can't wait for that film. Shia LaBeouf is the greatest of all time. Anyway, one of the Ayer Cut and Schneider Cut fans asked, I just know David Ayer movies give Killer Croc some substantial moments, then asking for bet in his jail cell. I want to see those moments. Hashtag release the Ayer Cut. And David Ayer simply goes, that wasn't my line. Now we know that people interfered with David Ayer's Suicide Squad, the editing, the dialogue, the reshoots, stuff was changed on the man, and he says this wasn't my line. So when Killer Croc asks for TV in his jail cell, that wasn't one of his lines in David Ayer's original script for the film. And look, we know that Jeff Johns intervened. We know that he kind of changed and effed up David Ayer's timeline and got to do with the Robin, got to do with Joker, got to do with Harley Quinn, because David Ayer said that Jeff Johns changed the Robin from Jason Todd. That was the one that died instead of Zack Snyder, who picked Dick Grayson. So that kind of messed things up with the timeline because it said that Harley Quinn had killed Jason Todd, when I pointed out that Harley Quinn didn't even exist when Dick Grayson was killed, when Robin was killed by the Joker, because then he goes to Arkham Asylum for killing the Robin, and then he meets the Harley Quinn. But he said that wasn't my line. So how much of that film is actually David Ayer's intentional film, because there's so much of that film that was cut and reshot. As the Joker scenes, even some of the Joker scenes that we seen in the trailer were reshoots. So there's so much original stuff that we have not seen. But David Ayer is campaigning all the time, and us fans need to keep up the momentum going to show HBO Max that we really want to see the Ayer Cut going forward. Now, people were kind of wondering, like, who's he talking about? Who rewrote these scenes? Who got involved? And people thought straight away, of course, Jeff Johns. It's all get out to get Jeff Johns. But Sam Parker just put up a funny gif, and he has, like, someone carrying a hat, which is kind of because Jeff Johns always wears a hat. And David Ayer just goes, nope, wasn't him. So it wasn't Jeff Johns. Was it John Berg? Was it someone else? But I'd say there was so many people interfering with his film. It was more than just Jeff Johns or John Berg. There was definitely other people involved, because we know that the trailer was edited by a music production, and then they edited the film. So many people were involved in effing up this film for David Ayer. And people were kind of asking David Ayer loads of questions, and especially about how much of this film is actually yours, how much of this film is actually pushed down to be a comedy. And David Ayer says maybe Hearst whipped into a comedy is more correct. So his film was never going to be the kind of lighthearted, goofy comedy that we've seen. I'm sure there was going to be humor in it, but kind of humor that resembled his directing style that we've seen in his other films, like Bright, like Fury, that kind of dynamic between characters of that dark humor. And I'm sure there's some good stuff in it, because he's done some great films. And even that Tax Collector trailer, it looks badass. It looks like I'm going back to his roots, and I absolutely can't wait for that. But you can just see that he's so open about talking about this film, and he really wants to see his cut get out there. Also, we know that in his original script, he had parademons, and he also had Steppenwolf to appear in the third act of the film and be kind of like a side villain. One of the guys asked, who was the villain in your cut? Was the big CGI guy at the end your idea? David Ayer says there was supposed to be a parademon boss fight that got killed in prep. So it was a boss fight with Incubus. Now, Incubus is Enchantress' brother, of course, you remember that. And there was supposed to be a parademon boss fight. So all these parademons coming out, kind of similar maybe to the Nightmare sequence from Batman vs. Superman. And a big battle between that, which I would have loved to see. And the one thing I really, really hate about Justice League is what they did to the parademons. Because in BVS, man, they look badass. They look scary. It looks like each individual parademon could take on Batman, could take on Wonder Woman, and be a real threat. But then they downplayed them and just made them into goons in the Zack Snyder's supposed Justice League. So let's just see and wait. But we won't be able to see this in David Ayer's cut if it's released, because that was cut really early in the script. Parademons and Steppenwolf were supposed to be a bigger part, but then they were completely cut out, and then we got the shit that we got in 2016. Ivan Keane asks, a fellow Irishman, he goes, David, is there anything you can say regarding whether or not your cut exists and the chances we'll see it? David Ayer says, the cut definitely exists. You'll need to ask AT&T and HBO Max to let it see the sunlight. And I 100% believe that someday we will get to see the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, and David Ayer will get to release that film through HBO Max. But he's campaigning for it. He wants us to keep asking AT&T, HBO Max, and be respectful and be positive, but keep asking, keep that train going, that we want to see that film, because look, he wants to see his real film come out because he's a director, he's a visionary, he's an artist. He wants to see his true work out there. He said yes to the 2016 version. I'd say he regrets it to an extent, but he still supports that film. He still understands people that like it. I like it personally. There's bits of it I don't like, which is Enchantress as a villain, but I also think it should have been more Joker. But I like that film in 2016. I enjoyed it, but I really want to see his cut. But he said it exists. It's there to be seen. All they have to do is release it. And of course, with every tweet, there's haters, there's people who want to put you down. And this man goes, that's absolutely stupid. Parademons are simple foot soldiers, not final boss level threats. Man, who are you? Did you not see the Parademons in Zack Snyder's Batman vs Superman? And David Ayer goes, what about Steppenwolf, huh? Would that be less stupid? Steppenwolf is this kind of badass character who was also effed up in 2017's Justice League. We'll get to see the real Steppenwolf next year. But David Ayer just kind of, I love that he has fun with these trolls and kind of pulls back and shows how stupid their comments actually are. He then asks David, was not me shorty I'm beautiful your line? Even if it's not, I still find it funny as fuck, and it pops into my head randomly throughout the week. And that is actually a funny scene, especially in Suicide Squad when they're all in the bar and Harley Quinn's like, we're all ugly on the inside or something like that, and Killer Croc just goes, not me shorty I'm beautiful. That's a really good line. But David Ayer says, that was mine. I had to fight to keep it in. So they wanted to cut those scenes on David Ayer. And look, how much stuff did he have to fight for? Probably the whole movie, it sounds like. How much stuff was actually cut? A lot of shit was cut. And a lot of stuff he had to fight for to keep it in the actual movie. But it excites me because whenever we do get to see David Ayer's cut, it's going to be an entirely new movie, just like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, I know Suicide Squad had better effects and it seemed finished when we seen it in 2016, but it's actually on the same basis as Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's an entire film that we haven't seen in different contexts and comes in different order. So I'm 100% looking forward to finally seeing it someday. All we have to do is stay positive, keep asking for it, and if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a success, I'm sure this will definitely be on the way. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts on David Ayer's comments about his cut of Suicide Squad and how much are you really looking forward to. Also, tell me what character you would love to see more dialogue or scenes within his cut of the film. For me, it's the Joker. I think Jared Leto gets a lot of shit for no reason whatsoever. We only got to see him, 10 minutes of that film, and a lot of his scenes were cut. He's a great actor, he's an Oscar winner, and I'm sure he does the Joker role justice. A lot of people say he's a bad Joker. Let's see his full incarnation of the character before we can actually comment. Much like Ezra Miller's Flash, much like Ray Fisher's Cyborg. Well, let me know, guys. Give a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on the socials. Until next time, David Ayer's Suicide Squad is a must.